There are many phrases to express your opinion in the English language, some of which are common and those that are used in formal situations. Common expressions: I think, I believe, I feel, in my opinion, I would say. More formal expressions: from my point of view, from my perspective, in my view. It seems to me that, the way I see it. Asking for opinions. After you were able to express your opinion, what about the opinion of others? Often when we express an opinion or suggestion, it is a good idea to ask others for their opinion. If you want to hear the opinions of others, you can use some of the following phrases. What do you think of? What are your thoughts on? How do you feel about? What's your opinion on? What's your position on? What's your take on? I'd like to hear your views on this matter. Agreeing and disagreeing. Often during a discussion on a topic, you may be asked to express your opinion and identify your personal point of view on this matter, and the response is often limited to either agreement or disagreement with the proposed opinion or point of view, so you can use some phrases that you can use to agree and disagree in the context subject to express opinion in English. Agreement expressions. I agree with you 100%. That's so true. You're absolutely right. Absolutely. That's exactly how I feel. Exactly. No doubt about it. I was just going to say that. You have a point there. Difference expressions. I don't think so. I totally disagree. I'd say the exact opposite. Not necessarily. That's not always true. No, I'm not so sure about that. When you disagree with someone, it is often difficult to express your point of view without offending that person at the same time. It is important to express your opinion honestly without courtesy, and this requires you to listen to the other party well and provide him with a reason or argument based on it to support your point of view and explain the reason for the difference. I see what you're saying, but I understand where you're coming from, but that's a valid point, but I'm sorry, but I disagree with you about this. Let's agree to disagree. In my opinion. Personally, I feel that. I would say that. Speaking personally. Speaking from my perspective. I guess that. I bet that. I assume that. I gather that. My impression is that. I am sure that. I'm certain that. I have a feeling that. I would argue that. I would say that. Common phrases. Common phrases don't need to be too polite. We can speak of ourselves in the first person and follow the introduction with our opinion. It's enough to say from my point of view to let the other person know that it's your personal opinion. In my opinion. Personally, I feel that. I would say that. Speaking personally. Speaking from my perspective. I guess that. I bet that. I assume that. I gather that. My impression is that. I am sure that. I'm certain that. I have a feeling that. I would argue that. I would say that. Formal phrases. We need to be more careful with formal phrases to express opinions in English. It's common to use a passive tense when expressing our opinions in a formal situation. We should share our point of view as one way of interpreting information, and we must share it as diplomatically as possible. It's important to be as objective as possible in a formal situation. A personal opinion needs to be backed by evidence in formal speaking or writing. According to, reference the person. It could be argued that. It could be believed that. It suggests that. It appears that. It seems that. One could say that. One could understand that. It would appear that. How to express general opinion. In informal situations, it's common to use the impersonal you, everyone, or people to express a general opinion. You would think that. You would believe. People think that. Everyone understands that. In formal situations, it's common to use the impersonal one pronoun for general opinions. One believes that. One would think that. One could interpret it as. One's opinion could be. English phrases to agree with someone's opinion. You hit the nail on the head. I couldn't have said it better. I concur. I couldn't agree with you more. You put my thoughts into words. That's exactly what I think. We share the same opinion. You said it. English phrases to disagree with someone's opinion. I see your point of view, however. I beg to differ. I can see where you're coming from, but. Agree to disagree. You've raised a good point, but have you thought about? From my experience, I believe that. While I see where you're coming from, I must disagree.